Paris, run to the St. Real. Sorry, not sorry, ain't it funny? Herb Lee on the track, license to ill. Advise opinions maybe, but facts ain't lies.
It's gold medal mentality. Watch the sunrise. One of one, them checking in. Silver sitting pretty. Still mean second best in the world. Get witty. Face down opponents. Pressure cooking hot. Gave my sweat, my focus. Everything I got. TJ Bronze. TJ holding down the bronze. Still on the stage. He's up for the Giants. Turning the page. Little discipline. Focus. Respect for the fight. My facts ain't lies. It's gold medal mentality. Watch the sunrise. One of one, them checking in. Silver sitting pretty. Still mean second best in the world. Get witty. Face down opponents. Pressure cooking hot. Gave my sweat, my focus. Don't walk on eggshells thin. If your feelings get bruised, let the whining begin. But don't wait for apologies. Don't hold your breath, son. We're sorry.
All right, we are back. This is the Warehouse 15, and today I'm going to start with an apology to TJ's mom. So remember that what we say here is in jest. We have nothing but love for your son. We are very proud of him. We were glad to find him when we found him, and then he found us, and he has done amazing things since then. And so I'm not going to say my usual tagline because for moms get a pass. So my mom.
I was going to say, yeah, man. How you going to use the tagline?
I'm not saying it. Not using it.
Everyone
not using
except for Mrs. Jennings.
That's it. So moms get a pass. My mom defended me vehemently.
Just for today, though. Just for today.
Oh, no. That doesn't mean I'm not going to be me with you. I'm just letting your mom know why. No. Your mom, whatever she says. So like you said, I don't want her pulling up on me or whatever the street vernacular is. Yeah. So where's your mom? Where does your mom live?
In Virginia. Where I grew up. A little bit more south from where I grew up.
Does she have an open carry permit?
I'm not gonna put her business out there, but she might.
All right. So Miss Jennings, please accept my sincere and dearest apologies, and remember that my name is Juan Moreno. Welcome, Coach Moreno. What do you got for us today?
Man, I'm excited. I know we're gonna do a little video review. I mean, we got to talk about the camp that we had after the Grand Prix. We got to talk. Did we talk about that last time? I don't even remember. We got to talk about the camp. I just got back from Minnesota. I have some questions for the organization to shout out there. Yeah, man, I got a lot. I got a quote from one of my guys, Josh, that I'm gonna talk about a little bit later. And the guy hit me at the right moment, man. Hit me at the right moment. Something that I needed to hear today. And yeah, I'm gonna pull that out in a couple minutes. But yeah, excited to be here as always.
Mr. TJ, my most favorite and most amazing person, the gentleman that I look up to for Taekwondo technique and knowledge. And when I was writing my book, every paragraph in it was me thinking about you. How are you today, sir?
I'm good, chilling. Actually, like Coach Moreno said, it's been a busy 2 weeks. We did have the Grand Prix Challenge. We had the International Exchange Camp at the gym out here in Charlotte, and then we went straight to Minnesota on Friday. I've been thrown into the epitome of what it means to be a high-level coach and a development coach all wrapped into one, and I commend these guys for what they've done and how they've done it for so long, because it is definitely a grind, being able to show up for the athletes every single day and work with them every single day in different levels and go back home and do it again on Monday. So for me, it was a good weekend. Very, very good, busy start to hopefully a long term of doing those kind of things at the gym, and obviously continue with the peak performance program stuff. So
we'll talk about that, but I just want to make sure you're okay, Young, because I know your little baby is in Japan, and
I'm having personal withdrawals, and
I know you are. I got no one to yell at.
I got no one to yell at.
No one to tell her what to do.
I got no one. Exactly. I have nobody to lecture, and I can't yell at him because he's in Japan. But
how's he doing?
He's doing great. I'm going to try to find. Let me show you this.
I saw that couple things that you posted. It was pretty cool, man.
Yeah, what was that? He was speaking Japanese?
He's speaking Japanese, man. This boy is like, listen.
Yeah,
that's
cool.
him being welcomed at the academy. And so we're just so thankful for the opportunity. And I want to thank my good friend Hussein Al-Masalam, who is the Director General and President of Swimming internationally. We've been friends for a long time. We met during my time at the Olympic Committee when I was working for the Olympic Council of Asia, and he reached out to the Japanese Football Association, their soccer association, and they've just been an amazing host. The club is Avispa Fukuoka, and it's an island in Japan, very hot. And Nico's just having a grand old time being free from me, being
Hey,
free from me.
I thought I just heard you say something like, "I can't believe, man, you're trying to send your boy abroad to get a girlfriend."
You know, I think his girlfriend is a soccer ball, and I'm okay with that. So his
How it should be.
you know, his he does soccer. When I was young, I had time for three things. I had time for Taekwondo, I had time for music and academics. Four things. There was the other thing, and the
I
you
knew
know,
this was coming.
but the kids these days are not. They
At least
are.
you're good at one of them.
Yeah, exactly. I try to be good at least at one of them, and so
Academics.
that's all we had, and that's all I did. But I'm happy for him, and Coach Moreno and I and you. When was your first time going to Korea, TJ?
Ooh, I think the first time I went was on in 2003 for they did a Pan Am Championship team. I actually got second that year, but that was back when there were no ranking points. So the number one person I think was Mark at the time. He didn't go, so they sent the second place person, which was me, and it was we went to Korean Open over there for the first time in 2003.
Well,
My year after I made junior team.
you could only imagine you were there for that, and Coach Moreno and I went there and lived there and trained there. And I can remember my first international trip because I'm a New York City kid, man. When I went to I saw trees when I went to camp. That's the kind of kid I was. So when I went to Korea, you land and the sights, the sounds, the food, the people, and it's so weird to be immersed in a culture where I mean, back then, no one spoke English. So you wanted to eat, you had to figure out how to say what you wanted. You wanted to get home, you needed to figure out how you had to walk. And so it was a great and humbling experience, but more importantly, just revitalizing. It's just amazing to go and do that. So for him, to be immersed in Japan, I'm excited for we'll see what young man comes home. But then he's home for a couple days, and he goes to Brazil, to Fluminense.
Brazil.
Yeah, so we'll see.
That's
in,
pretty cool.
Well,
yeah.
for sure he's not coming from Brazil because he's about to fall in love in Brazil. But
Well, they're going to put him in, Brazil. You know how Brazil is. So Fluminense has a training facility. What's the big city? It's on the outskirts of Buenos Aires, Brazil, or is that?
no, it's
That's
Argentina, man.
Argentina.
So
Sao
the
Paulo?
other Sao Paulo. So yeah, I'll have to look up where the training facility is, but
That's a state.
he'll be secluded, and that's another whole
Yeah.
style. I was watching. Did you guys watch that World Cup of clubs? Dude, these guys, they play different soccer in Argentina and Brazil. These
Very
guys.
rough. Very
Yeah.
rough.
Last night I was watching was it Inter Milan? Inter Milan from some other club, and the club was from Argentina. And the two guys got in and got
Like
on
Boca
it.
Juniors.
They got into it on the field, and then they were like, "Okay, let's go into the tunnel so nobody sees it." So the one brother from Inter Milan ran into the tunnel. They grabbed the Argentinian guy and tackled him to the floor so that they wouldn't be in the tunnel punching each other in the face. So
Yeah, it's a lot more personal. Like, I mean, it's a little bit like Taekwondo. I mean, in Europe, and Taekwondo I'm not gonna say it's a little cleaner. It's a little bit more point based. It's not so personal. I mean, people lose and they dap each other up. In South America, we push and we kind of.
yeah,
North America, we're a little bit more rough around the edges. But no, I was gonna say, Young. I mean, I know that TJ went back in 2003. You went back in the 80s. So did I. I mean, talk about no one speaking the language. Talk about no phones, no communication. I mean, I remember going to a pay booth to call my parents. I mean, it was just crazy. And I was I was 15. At least you were a man when you went there. I mean,
yeah.
I literally had never been out of the country. Just set me on an airplane. I'm like, what the? Well, I remember flying over there in Korean Air, going, what am I doing? Like, who do I meet? Like I didn't have a name. There was no one gave me a name. Nobody gave me a picture. Like, I really just remember getting out the plane, carrying a bag, and then just one guy looked at me. I looked at him. He looked at me, and he turned around, and I just followed him. You know what it was? It was Icky John Icky. He's from Gyeonggi-dae.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So anyway, it's just funny kind of stuff.
Yeah, but
yeah, I mean,
that's great. That adventure, like, Nico had to go through Korea, right? So he gets off the plane in Korea. Doesn't call me because he knows what I'm going to say. So he calls my wife. He doesn't know where to go. Like, where do I go? She's like, find the gate. Find the gate. So he gets off the plane in Japan, and luckily there was somebody there to pick him up. And when I went, Coach Isang, oh my gosh, it's kill something. And E now, he picked me up. He was the president of the Taekwondo program there, and then he became president of Isanguk, and he became president of the university. So I had the actual like guy pick me up, and he didn't speak English, a little bit of English. Went to his house for breakfast. It was his birthday, and just the culture and the amazing welcoming of it and the hospitality was unparalleled.
It's funny. Let's get on to our show, but like it's funny because when I went there, like this dude, I was a kid. This grown ass man, he didn't offer to carry my bags. I got on a train. I got on a bus. I go up same thing to the to the one of the professors at Kyunghee's apartment with his family there. They put me in a room like I was like this. They put me in a room and I was sitting there
You were a
waiting. And
pet.
yeah, and their daughter came in and tried to speak a little English to me, and then I remember they weighed me, and in my arrogant stuff, I'm like, oh, they trying to figure out what weight category I am. but but you know what it was? The
Uh,
guy that sent me over to Korea, they wanted to make sure that I didn't lose too much weight. They wanted to make sure I ate. You know what I'm
oh,
saying? So it was funny.
That's a
They were like,
crazy way.
that, yeah, I mean, I didn't know that till later, but I was like, man, they trying to size me up. They know who's coming over here, man.
That's
Oh
crazy though. I
man.
never got a chance to train in Korea. Like through my whole
oh,
Taekwondo career, I
really?
never.
Oh,
No, never, never, never. We went over there for. I trained a little bit while we were in Korea, but like I never went to a full blown. We're
yeah.
gonna go to a training camp, and I always hear the stories about all the miles of running in the morning, and then
Oh,
the
yeah.
the the billions of
True.
kicking in the afternoon, and then the thousands of
Chanting,
fights afterwards.
chanting while you're running and running up mountains. I mean,
That's military
the
stuff.
generation of guys that we came up with, like when I went to Chede, they had 45 of the best athletes in the country, men, in each division. They had five in each. They had 40 in each, and they had five from each, the top players. They went out and recruited them. So that was Park Bung Kwan, what was his name? Lee Jung Soo. I mean, they had, Myung
Younger
Chan.
son.
Yeah, from that particular program, I think in the '88 Olympics they had three or four athletes that made that team. Park Bang Kwan, Myung Chan was there.
Nah, they
The
were listen. In those days, they
Yeah,
were good, and
yeah,
all. I mean, there's a couple universities, but you're right, TJ. The running and stuff like that. I mean, I think it's changed a little bit now. I mean, obviously, just like our country has changed, but I mean, it was not fun. To be honest with you, it really wasn't. I mean, it's fun looking back, but it wasn't fun while you were there. I
yeah.
mean, I got too many I mean, too many good stories.
Yeah,
Too many
yeah.
good.
Well, no doubt. Listen, they were tougher, and the programs there were tougher, and one of the best coaches in the history of the sport ran the high school program, and that was Kim Se-yuk, and
Yeah,
his athletes and his program. He was
yeah,
brutal. You know,
yeah. Oakland
a
High
guy
School.
showed up
That's
to practice with hair too long. They all shaved their heads. They got hit with sticks. I mean, you couldn't do that today. Kids would cry
So
and go home.
when I went to Korea, they took me to Gyeonggi Day, and then they
Mm.
looked at me and they were like, this kid's too small," and they sent me to Dongseong High School. So I stayed in a
Oh,
little place right, and that was where that Kim Tae-hyuk was, and the guy that I fought in the Olympics was there. I just
Quantejo.
didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kwon Tae-hyuk, I didn't know who he was, and Bobby Clayton and Park Bung Kwan, all those guys would come back there in the afternoon because they'd go to the university and they'd come back to this high school to train at night with this specific coach because he was
Yeah.
just
The best.
yeah, he's the best. I mean, he's
Yeah.
literally the best.
Well, I know
Anyway, let's
today.
talk.
I know today we're going to talk about and we're looking at and we're going to watch a match. So this is something new. If you have the YouTube, we're going to share the video so you can see it. And it's going to be a good conversation because it'll be a conversation a little bit about the scoring system and then certainly about some of the things we see in it. But let me take a second here to figure it out,
Can,
and
can I
then
can
we're
I
good.
can I say something before we get on that? I
Yeah.
mean, while you figure that out, I just want to say, like this weekend, I know we had that international camp. I don't know if we talked about that, TJ, at your place. Did we talk about that, or is that were we in
A
between? I
little
can't
bit.
remember.
A little bit. A little bit. I
Okay,
think we
well,
just the continuation into Minnesota was the
You
part that
want
we
to
kind of
talk about
missed.
that
okay, okay.
first? We could talk about that first.
Yeah, because it's quick. I just want to say just a real quick thing. Listen, I want to give a shout out to Coach Oy Lee. He's one of my original peak performance coaches. He had us all out to Minnesota. He's been having one every June, kind
He
of
was
as
a
a prep
guest on the
before.
show. He was a guest on
Yeah,
the show.
yeah. Prep before nationals and stuff like that. But this one was particularly special because we really had like a what do you say, kind of TJ, like, almost like a reunion. We had Terrence
Yeah.
was there, TJ was there, Paige was there, James Howe was there, Russell Benny B was there, your wife was there, Nat, my wife was there. Um, Coach Park from Canada came in. Am I missing one of the other coaches? Just well, I'm talking about our peak performance reunion coach.
I keep waiting. I keep waiting for the invite. I feel
Listen,
like, I
I'm not
understand
inviting you
USA
nowhere, bro.
Taekwondo may not like me, WT may not like me, the Kooky one may not like me,
Everybody likes you. Come on.
Mexicans don't like me, TJ's mom doesn't like me, but like you guys, I mean, come on now.
I asked you before, but
No,
anyway,
it
no,
was
it
kind
was.
of cool. It was definitely cool to have that many of us around. It's interesting. I was looking at some of the pictures on the wall there, and I see like, particularly like Alisson when he was younger, this little kid, like goofy looking kid, and now he's been able to fight and develop into an Olympian and get through all these things, and it's pretty cool to see the process of that and kind of seeing some of these kids that I met when I first went there for peak camps and I was maybe 20 some years old, 22, 23 years old, and they were like 12, and now these kids are 22 and they're still involved, they're still active, they're still helping be a part of the development. I think that part was pretty cool.
Young, that's really what I want to talk about, TJ, is that there was literally generations. There was my generation with TJ and a lot of these guys, and now they have students. Some of those students have kids. It was crazy. Oh, James Howe, I miss James Howe,
Yes.
and his wife.
James.
So like we were just all there, and all the coaches were on the floor working, and like you said, to see. Allison's a great talk, because the kid was in the after school program and now he's an Olympian and runs a school for OI. You look at, Ava Lee, who was this little girl running around and we to carry her in diapers and now she's fighting at the world championship level. And to see Skylar Park and the Park family, coming to us, it was just really cool to see the lowest of the low, the highest of the high. And it was beautiful for me. I mean, I almost felt like a grandpa, kind of sitting back, watching everybody. I mean, I worked a lot like at the camp itself, but I was really proud and happy that like what we've been able to build. I know people talk about peak, 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 but to see everybody in the same room, um, bringing their own athletes now, it's not just them, it's their athletes now coming with our athletes. And man, the family was great. And we had a really good level of little kids, of juniors and of seniors. Like I said, we had how many Olympians training that day? There was like four Olympians training. It's crazy. It's crazy. So just a lot of fun. Now, again, shout out to Coach Lee because him and his family, his wife, and the WTA family, they were young. They took us out to their lake house. We did jet skiing. We rode on boats. He took us to dinner. I mean, the dude is just a. I know people look at him because he's a kind of a scowls and stuff like that, but what an amazing host, brother for me. He's literally like my brother. I mean, just a great guy. So yeah, just want to give a shout out to him.
Well, I think that, I didn't realize this, TJ, but,
Hmm.
with your headphones and that microphone, you look like a telemarketer for a late night, like lose weight program or something. Call now and you too can, yeah. I mean, I don't know what I think it's the way the microphone comes down or something, but TJ's mom, that's a joke, just a joke.
Couldn't wait, TJ. He couldn't
I
let it
know
go.
it was
Wait, what time is it? 17
every.
minutes in.
That's all it
17.
took.
What happened to the clock? What happened to the clock?
I'm gonna get the clock back. I think I need it. You've been okay so far. Like we haven't got too deep, but I'm gonna have to bring the clock back.
You got to
Let's
bring
get
the
into
clock.
let's
All right,
let's watch this video.
I'm going to get it. We're going to start a
What are we
share.
watching again? What are we watching?
This is
the match.
the World Samba Championships, and the athlete from the U.S. is competing against the athlete from Korea, and I think it's a breakdancing competition. I'm not really sure what it is. I had to watch it twice because I fell asleep during the break between the first and second round, and I had to be woken up. But let me get it up. No pun intended. So, can you guys see it? You see it now?
Yeah.
All right, let me do this. I'm going to make it big for our audience.
Are people at home going to be able to see it?
They will. It's going to be, and they're going to be able to hear it.
So what are the rules to watching this match? Like I like watching Taekwondo matches. Like, are we gonna stop, pause it? We gonna like talk about it? We gonna let it run straight through?
If you want to pause it, we can pause it. So all you got to do is.
I don't mind. I just want to know the rules because I know we might go off on a tangent and start talking about.
What is this, Fight Club? We don't talk about Fight Club.
Your last time you made spaghetti or something crazy in the middle of this match. So.
All right, so let's pre-frame it. We have what happened to his hair? Who is that?
Hold on. Let me pre-frame it because listen, this would be a very what do you say, like a match that I would want to see, quite honestly, because they fought before. But it just happens to be on this system, which we're going to see is a little bit crazy. And I mean, I know it's, Dr. Kabner wanted to come on and debate with me, but I told him I had no defense of this event because it was, I don't even know what was going on. I don't even know what the points were going on. I couldn't tell you. So, this would be a great match on a normal KPMP or maybe even a Gen 2. This Gen 3, it is what it is. Let's watch it.
All right, I'm gonna start it, and then let me know if you don't hear the audio, but I have the audio on as well. And this is being commentated by I don't. It sounds like somebody from North Carolina, has a little bit of an accent, and I don't think they actually do Taekwondo because they don't. I'm not talking about the athletes. I'm talking about the commentator. But if you can recognize the commentator, let me know.
Gold medal winner in Manchester. These have been the two most dominating fighters in this division.
It's doing the choppy thing again.
And so it is the best for last.
Well,
in this case,
so the people that are watching it won't see the choppiness. It's just you.
Right off the bat, Nicholas hits a tight little inside roundhouse kick, but it doesn't score, and it honestly it doesn't even register. Both guys scored quickly, 2-0. I'll try to keep up.
Yeah, but the audio's ahead.
Are kicking it, and it's a beautiful.
What was that?
The audio's ahead, and I can't see what the actual exchange
Well,
is.
the video is going to play in real time for people in the audience. So the commentary may seem, but that's just the way you see the video. But so right there, we're at 5-2. I'm going to bring it back we can get it.
That's a problem right there.
Yeah, we're going to go to that.
You're going to see a lot of action. Both these guys have been outstanding. Excellent fighters. Right off the bat, Nicholas hits a tight little inside roundhouse kick, but it doesn't score, and it honestly it doesn't even register. Both guys scored quickly, 2-0. I'll try to keep up. These guys are kicking it, and it's a beautiful sliding roundhouse kick just over the shoulder.
And that's the problem right there, right? So we'll stop it there for a minute because for the people that listened to it, there was all of a sudden out of nowhere, I couldn't see what it was. It went from 2-2, which I didn't see the 2-2 either. I saw one of the techniques. And then this one is where it stopped and it became 5-2. So Coach Moreno, can you tell us a little bit about this before we watch it?
I'm assuming that there was a lot of phantom points where things were getting close, and coaches towards the middle and end of the tournament, they started using the card saying technical problem with the score because things were missing, and so they would watch it, it would miss, and they would give their card back. I think he asked for two things. Number one, I think it missed, okay, and later on you'll see they give the card back. They took off the 3 points and went 2-2. But the referee kept his card, so that leads me to believe he asked for two things. And he asked for a spin because there was only one action by the Korean guy. I watched this earlier. He did a little spinning hook kick to the back. It's ugly. I didn't even know.
Oh, it's ugly.
He did no up. He did no roundhouse. He did nothing. That was the only kick he did, and 2 points went up. So by virtue of him spinning, he should have gotten 4. So I don't know. I have no idea how the referees, after reviewing it, did not see that the only kick the guy did was a spin kick. There was no other kicks. 2 points went up. Therefore, it had to be a 4-point play. So it should be 4-2 Korea. But it ends up being 2-2.
Got it. All right, so let me play this a little bit further because they're going to show. They go back. I'm going to skip all this. They're going to show the video.
Looking on a spin. Maybe he's looking for.
So they actually show the video.
So take away points and add points is what they're looking for. And interesting enough,
so they show it here if you look at the screen. You can see that the foot never. He's talking about that hook right there to the body, which he should be hit with a stick for even throwing that technique. And then this is the point that they try to say that CJ scored. Well, the system said CJ scored. And you can see it didn't go anywhere near or touch anything.
Looking at, so.
Are you talking about that face kick?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to watch it on my phone at the same time so I can be on the same spot at least.
See how it misses? See right there.
Yeah.
It went over the shoulder.
Yeah.
Is there a team from Great Britain here?
I think that's always, that's been a issue. I don't know.
Well, it shows like
I've always
the
hated
not
that.
the
I've hated that
headgear,
since
but
we
the
were doing
chemo
push
see it
button
here?
scoring for the face, then 3
Yeah.
points, and even electronic helmets. Like
And very well
stuff
could
gets
chase.
close,
It's
it
hard to
doesn't get
tell
close,
from-
and we.
Well, let's talk about
Most
that
coaches
for a
don't want to
minute,
risk their
because
cards to.
it's obvious
But
that
they're making you.
that kick didn't even come. That kick didn't even. The toe didn't even glance or touch anything. It was
Right,
literally
right.
a kick to the top of the shoulder.
Young, there was all kinds of stuff like that, even to the body, like spin kicks where people clearly block things. Spin kicks and 4 points were going up. I mean, there was stuff to the back. I can show you little video clips, like spinning hook kicks to the middle of the back and 5 points going up. It went from 2 to 10. I mean, it was so much. I don't blame the coach and the athletes because you couldn't keep up with it. So
Yeah.
if TJ's in the chair, he's watching the fight, he's looking at the scoreboard. You don't even know what's going on. It was so crazy. That's why I said I can't even comment.
I watch a lot of Taekwondo like you guys, and I don't understand. But let me go to this next section
No,
here.
but like real quick, like
Yeah.
my problem with this and the problem with the way it's still scoring, and I'm gonna go a little bit more. I think where we are in this day and age, it's still a crazy match because these athletes were able to over adapt and still outscore and still figure out do all these good things. But this system goes back to what was it, 2022 World Championships in Guadalajara? And,
Yeah.
it was the first day when they said it was because of the pool water. Remember that whole thing?
Yeah.
And you had
What?
people going, yeah, the water in the room was affecting the signal, something weird. But you saw the same thing, people getting swung on and hit and not being touched and getting bonus points for not coming close. I mean, so this for me, I know the shock value because it was so much in one place, but this system has been doing this. Like
Yep.
this is
Yeah.
not new.
All right, let's watch
You
a little
know?
bit. Let's watch a little further because
beg your pardon, but
then the
So they
pain will
took the
give
face
up.
kick off though.
hard for me to tell.
Yeah, they did
Single,
take the
Yeah,
face
yeah.
kick off.
They saw they have a better angle than us, and we'll go 2-2.
Like that, in fairness, that was a decent up ball.
Yeah.
They are absolutely crushing the chest protector. And they're not coming.
But like you said,
They're
but they don't score.
But now watch that. Watch. Where did that point come from?
Yeah,
Which
that's what I'm
one?
saying. They literally
There's a
swing to the back.
3 right here. It
Swings
was
to the back.
2-2.
Oh, yeah, I see. I'm
Yeah.
watching
Now
it
I
right
could
now.
actually. I should slow it down. Let me slow it
But
down.
did they take it off for holding or no?
No, not this one. Not this one.
Let me slow it down. Just a little bit.
Yeah, but he's honestly for this system and any system, the Korean boy's good at that. Like he hits that a
They
lot.
may not be
Yeah.
hitting them, but they're
Now
Right
watch
here, you'll
this.
they are
Right. Watch this.
absolutely crushing the chest protector.
Yeah, it swings into
and
the
they're
back.
not coming.
Not that one, the
There's
next
your
one.
Where-
traditional double
Right.
kick.
Next one, right here. That one. He
Yeah,
does
he's
that a lot.
That is
He
What
wrapped
was
his
that?
foot. He
He
wrapped
wrapped
his
his
foot.
foot around back. He
You
does
just
that
see
a
it?
lot though to a lot of people.
The first one he did. The second one, you can see his foot like wrapped pretty good.
So what do
That's
you
where
get
he's-
1 point for? What do you get 1 point for?
He
The
got a
deduction,
come
he
down.
fell.
Yeah, he fell. So CJ
Oh.
got 1 deduction.
Got it.
I
Got
mean,
it. Got it.
The Korean got a deduction, so he got it. But
Got it.
but-
Got it. All right.
nice tight short right leg, but he does a great
Let me
job.
put it back to regular speed.
so you're right, CJ. They took it off.
Got caught holding his breath, the referee said, so they'll waive off those 2 points and give him a deduction.
So he did the same technique twice, and then they called it
with a
second
minute
one
30 left in
when it
round.
scored.
That was close. Nicholas
What was that?
Up on side. I mean, I'm telling you, I can't defend it.
Yeah. What happened? Like, where did those points come from?
And I think a little front leg up on it.
All right, so it's
I'm
6-3 for those that are listening on the podcast. Another mystery point, 6-3 for Nicholas and versus Sol.
I'm about to watch his thing.
Yeah, back to Nicholas. So Nicholas.
And the Korean scored and that was a loud technique, and he got 2 points, 6-5.
Back and forth we go. Both guys looking to spin.
Now he's going to get a minus point, right, for falling.
Both guys scoring back to back.
Now that was a decent punch, right?
They scored it. They scored
Yeah,
it.
they scored that.
It was like one of 5 punches throughout the weekend.
Mm-mm.
Wasn't me.
Big punch. That's one of the punches that does score around here. And it scores because it's big, it's stopping, and it's loud. That's another solid cut by Nick.
So 2 points for a cut
And
kick.
he has an 11-7 lead.
Yeah.
Just 48 seconds left here in round one. That's a nice tight round stick. That's what So does so well. He's doing a great job of following his kicks. But Nicholas doing his and it's a big face kick. Doesn't score. And So does a great job of weathering the face kick and the spin, and then inside right leg, nice and tight, and that's what he does so well. Both guys straight body shots inside. There's a cut. There's a defensive cut kick.
What the hell? What was that?
He's tired.
A sort of a turn.
Look at
Not
Yeah,
quite.
these guys are always like this. I mean, the score at this point, the score's 20 to what? Well, I'm ahead, but
So 17-12 seconds left. We knew it was going to be good action. And a strike.
But take that for a minute. What was that? So they were at 17.
Yeah,
and then watch this, because this is interesting, right? Let me change the playback speed just so you can appreciate what I'm going to say.
So 17, 12, 13 seconds left.
3 points go up here.
How
was that?
It's the same as the first one.
That was as bad as that's as bad as the first one.
Yeah.
Do it again one more time.
Okay.
It looks like it gets on his shoulder, possibly. See if you can go even slower, Young.
Oh, I can go slower.
Think about that. That's 2 points he didn't get, 3 points that he just got. That's a 5-point lead. It already came up.
Oh, you went too far.
Yeah, right here. Right here.
Left.
Yeah.
I mean, that's as bad as the first. I mean, it's
right.
Actually it's as bad as the first one.
That left leg backside should have scored. This system's dumb, because I think the left leg backside after the face kick, the left leg to the backside should have scored. It was nice, flat, and wrapped. I don't know.
And a sliding axe kick that scored, and that's big. That takes it to 20 to 12.
I mean, really, it should be. I mean,
he's going to continue to press and follow.
What's going on? What's he doing?
That's just. That is dumb. Yeah, it's. But like you look at that 3 point stop.
What he's checking for, in my opinion.
You know my problem with this? Even still, there's 4 deductions in this right now. It's 4 deductions and 2 deductions, all in the span of 2 minutes. And like even worse, these guys are fighting for 2 minutes, and that's still such a big factor in the match. They're not avoiding. They're not trying to fall. They're not doing any of that stuff. And that 4 points is that's huge.
It's not going to matter because it's 2018.
We're talking over
3.51 seconds so long.
So think about this. Like right now, there's 3 points for a face shot, right? Right. There's 2 points that they missed on a spin. That's 5, right? It should be 5 change. And then there's they're fighting every single time in the clinch and the kicking. And then the one time the guy gives them a point. When a point scores, he gives a come down, takes out 2 points. So that's a 3-point swing. So that's 5 and 3. That's an 8-point swing in USA's favor. And look at the score.
Yep.
I mean, that's big. It's a I know those are matches. I'm not crying about the deduction, but the 3 that they missed. I mean the 2, the spin, and the 3. That's a 5-point right there. And so think about
what
when
is
the match.
This? 7 and 8 is the number of the player, right?
No,
that's how many body shots.
Body shots they scored. Head
is
shots.
that what it
bodies, 7 bodies, 1 head, 0 heads.
Right.
2 punches.
CJ got 2 punches that round.
Oh yeah, he did get 2 punches. Yeah.
Well,
and then
0.
Johnson got 4.
4 deductions though.
He did fall 3 times.
Yeah, it's a crazy game. I mean, obviously, I've never liked the deductions for falling because I know where it started when people back in the day would go potty chuggy and roll and fall on the floor on purpose. But I've watched people get deductions for slipping on the slippery World Taekwondo letters in the middle, and I get a deduction because the letters are slippery. Is stupid. Like
Yeah.
we go too far in this. I guess in the ability to try to say we're being so fair and we're doing the right thing that I think you've tried to go so far because you're masking all the stuff that is actually wrong, and that's my issue. And obviously the headgears are screwy, the body shots are screwy, everything's screwy.
All right, let's
It
watch
makes the game
this.
tough.
Let's watch this second round for a second.
CJ Nicholas Blue, USA. Sol Jungwoo.
Why is he touching him?
So round number 2.
What? Oh my God! I never
CJ
did that when I
Nicholas
fought.
Blue,
But anyway,
USA.
just
Sol
me.
Jungwoo, Red Korea.
Yep. What? Wait, hold on a second. What was that?
2. He just puts his
Did he
foot there and
spin?
hit the second. No, he did double.
Oh, he hit
up
kick
on.
twice.
Yeah.
So I didn't even see it. That's wacky. Let's watch that one more second.
I don't know if he.
Oh yeah, I
his foot.
saw.
So round number 2. CJ Nicholas Blue, USA. Sol Jungwoo, Red Korea.
Right here. 1, 2.
Man, I don't even. I mean, I guess.
Hard.
So does a great job.
What was the 6 point?
To the body. And then
That was
Let's play
also an
again.
up ball. Yeah, it was an
Yeah,
up ball.
close.
But I mean, I guess, I mean, we'll talk about that later. None of these are points. Like, they're points on this chest protector.
So now he's down 6-0 with 140 to go. So
to the body.
No, he does
And
another
follows
body.
the double kick of CJ Nicholas with an inside round
To
of
get
kick
himself
zone.
back in.
And now he's up to 6-0.
Yeah.
It's funny because the Korean guy doesn't back up, and he backs up and he gets in with another body. Watch.
She's in control now.
Right here.
6-0.
Watch this. One more time. Not here. He's on the other side.
that one, yeah.
No. Here it comes.
Oh, beautiful spin. 360 rounds kick from Nicholas, and he scores it big and long. So he trims that lead to just 2 points with 1 kick. 360 round kick, not a bomb round kick. And there's So with his right leg inside again, back up to 8-4.
It's not right leg, it's
outstanding
left
here
leg.
round 2 with the short inside rounds kick with both legs, but the right leg in particular. Looking for that.
He's smart. He's taking his time because he's tired.
And there's the short little cut kick that scored. And Nicholas trimming the lead slowly but surely. Down 6-0. Now just down 2 at 8-6. 50 seconds. And now 8-8. So working his way.
What was that? I didn't see that.
It's hard to see. I don't know if it's an up or
Nicholas trimming
cut.
the lead slowly but surely. Down 6-0. Now just down 2 at 8-6. 50 seconds.
That
Side
was
kick.
that weird. No, not a side kick. That's not even a side kick. What that is a nothing kick, but it scored. And let me explain. Let me just tell you what this is a great place to talk about that, this problem, right? So let's watch that for half a second.
And there's the short little cut kick that scored.
Here's where the point comes.
Nicholas trimming
Oh, no, wait. Did it come?
Right here, right here. Let it go. Let's go right here.
Down 6-0.
After a
Now
clash.
he's down 2 at 8-6.
That's what scored.
Oh,
You
it was a hook. It was a hook to the back.
Body hook.
It was a hook to the back of the chest protector that wouldn't be a point. If you hit somebody with it, the only thing you would hurt is the bottom of your foot when it
Well,
landed
that's
on the
normal.
floor.
That's where we do body hook. They do body hook to the back. They do body hook to the front, to the face. I mean,
But this day, it was really sensitive.
2 seconds. And now 8-8. So working his way back, both offensively and defensively. And there's those inside.
But then the Korean does a weird hook to the body that scores.
And both guys scoring back-to-back 12-10. You keeping up? Are you? And there's your first head kick. But so gets the roundhouse kick. Oh, he kicks around the guard. That's an incredible move by So, as he just kicks around the guard. Nicholas comes back with a double, follows his double with a single, and scores at 16-15. So 23 seconds left, and this is exactly what Taekwondo is all about. Tight
Is it?
matches, both fighters laying it on the line, winner take all in the final. This is round 2. To see another round, we're going to have to keep going. CJ Nicholas throws body shot, doesn't get it, does get one, throws a headshot, doesn't get it. And Nicholas gets a head kick.
So there it goes again, the mysterious head kick. So watch this. You guys still there?
Yeah.
All right, let me slow it down a little.
I mean, I think this was again. I know I think we've probably seen this match. Oh wait, you guys are done. I've seen this match before, but like, I like that neither one of them went away. You know what I mean? Neither one of them went away. They kept taking shots the entire time. I mean, unfortunately, I've been doing this and watching these games for so long. This starts to look normal a little bit, other than the
Watch.
ultra sensitivity of the chest guard. But
Nothing, not anywhere near the face.
Damn, that's true.
Not even near the face. That's ridiculous.
Kick, like left leg, shoots it to the face. And Joe's going to spin. You know he's going to look for that turn. And it's close. That back kick is very close.
Anyway, that's all we can watch of this because it's over. But
3 seconds left.
there's no seconds left. It doesn't matter.
All right.
So anyway, let's go back to all of this. So just on first glance, for whatever it's worth, if you were gonna count that, if you were gonna look at that as a real match, and in fairness to the level of Taekwondo, and if you're gonna score it legitimately point wise. And this is not uncommon in Taekwondo, but there are a lot of points that weren't scored that should have been scored that were actual points, like round kicks. On the other side of it, the punch points, probably I would have given those 2. But the hook, I mean, the majority of the match was weird up balls, some of which were decent and most of which were crap. There was no stepping. It was linear with no complex motions of attack and retreat, counter. There literally is no counter matrix, meaning I attack and then I use that as a precursor to set up Taekwondo techniques. So my best example of this is trap back kick. I round kick, you try to patachagi, I do back kick or back hook kick. You do double kick counter, whatever. None of that happens. So when you take all of that and then add the hook kicks to the body, the missing face kicks that score, what are you left with? And then the scoring system that can't discern what a pointer is or isn't. So what are you left with? What am I missing?
I got. You know what? It's funny because, like I said, I think I'm a little numb to it. I'm very, very numb to it because I've seen this system do this a bunch of times. I've seen these kind of matches where, obviously, if we're just speaking very generally, the front leg rules the game. It's closer to the body. I can make contact early before you can make contact with your back leg. We're amazed and thrilled to see someone who doubles and triples or who changes up and does something different. It's exciting because the majority of the game is played a certain way out of safety, out of necessity of touching the chest guard, out of necessity of just getting close. So it's like I'm a little numb to it, but watching it back a little bit, it definitely takes the juice out of that match for me because they are both great competitors. It is a lively match. I've seen, like I said, the up balls, yes, here and there. The way he wrapped his foot, yes, normal. CJ's dynamic. CJ goes to the face, he follows. I think the only good takeaway for me to that match is that neither one of them kind of went away. They kind of fought each other and stood there. But you're right. And the Korean boy, to be honest with you, is a pace game. He's all pace. He's gonna go forward, and until you get tired, and he's okay with going 3 rounds. I think this time he wasn't able to get it to a 3rd round, but I feel like for him, that's always the goal. He fights a lot of tall, bigger 80s, and it's the same game. It's the same pace. He pushes them until they fall over, and that's like his style of Taekwondo. I think that's I think either you're technical or your pace. And those are the 2 options you have right now in this game. Not too much in between, you know? I mean, the great fighters do some stuff that's cool, but that's just where we are. Then you got to kick more to score more, and unfortunately, I know, love it or hate it, but that's where we are.
Listen, Young. When you break it down like there was nothing, it was linear. It was this. There's no steps. There's no checks. There's no rhythm. You're absolutely 100% right. But to TJ's point, that Korean guy, his style is he's short. He fights these giants. This dude, they say go, and you see him like the referees have to push him back half the time. He's all gas, and when he gets going, he wraps his foot. He hits pretty good and pretty heavy. But that's that style. Like I'm thinking in my head right now when I watch the heavyweights, Alessio, you saw just the opposite. They're checking, they're moving, they're counter up-balling, they're clinching. It's a much more of a chess match. That those two just happen to be all go, and when they get to with each other, it looks a little bit like that. Now, add on the scoring system, absolutely 1000% sucks because it rewarded some of that stuff. Um, that's where I didn't watch it like that. You're right. There was two face shots that probably didn't score. There was a back kick that should have scored, that should have had points added on. There was a front hand punch that should have scored because they told us illegal. Look at that. 6, 8, 9 points in favor of USA in there. That's crazy. That's crazy
Yeah.
when it comes down to a close match. But I agree with TJ. This was two guys that had figured out the system a little bit throughout the day. They got there and they just clashed. They just clashed, and one guy got the better of the system. That's all I can say on that one. That's really.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
When we,
Yeah, go ahead.
I think we compare it to like I know kind of where you're, I guess not where you're going. We were talking about just again like the spatial awareness. Like normally old school Taekwondo, we're never one person not going off the line, the other person not. If we're in open stance, the other person not responding with the same side. You almost got looked at like you were goofy if you did that. Like you were a bad training partner if you did that. If I started first and you kicked to the same side, I'm looking at you like, what the heck? But like I think two things. I think back then, whether the people don't like to hear it or not, if there were more bigger devastating shots, if you made a mistake, you could go to sleep really fast. Like that's just the reality, whether it be a back kick to the ribs or something hard to the face. But we got into this era of Taekwondo where you can afford to take more shots. You can afford to take more shots. The risk of taking more shots is while doing those things, maybe something gets close to your face, maybe something scrapes, but it's not a fear of getting hit. So people are throwing a little bit more stuff. They're kicking the wrong side. They're back hook kicking to the other side. Those are like I call them finesse points. Those are finesse points of sport Taekwondo right now. Stuff that you would never throw in any way, shape, or form that's gonna like apply damage to someone. It's just foot placement. It's just body placement. It's just angle closing and opening. But it's again like if you compare it to the two, I think you can just like if we've gotten there because there's not as much devastating. We don't have to check off everything. I know they're gonna respond. I know they're gonna lift their leg to stop me. So I can throw a couple more risky shots or whatever you want to call them, or kick more without checking or motioning or moving. I can just kind of start and see off the clash or off the exchange, where do I go from there?
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you, I'm going to do one more share. And this is a long time ago. So for whatever it's worth, right? So let's just watch this for 10 seconds. So this is
the World Championships, 89.
Yep.
It's Quante Hill.
And watch the level of. So
that's my division.
Yeah, basically they're fighting, a similar fight, right? But watch the Korean. See the stepping and the moving, and then you're going to see attack and release. You're going to see counters. You're going to see setup, right? And I could pick a million matches like this, and of course there's a lot of bad matches as well. There's a counter. There's a recounter. There's an answer. There's an in and out, in, back in, right? So when you watch these kind of matches, you're seeing, a different, and this guy is obviously overwhelmed. So here, let me give you one last one. One of our favorite fighters.
I like this pace better. I mean, just being in Taekwondo, I like this pace better, obviously. I think we have changed. I mean, it's just touch the chest guard and try to make it go off.
This is Kim Choro. See the exchange of techniques. See the in and the out, right? And watch, same tournament, by the way, 89. This is where he becomes world champion. And great fighters. They're trying techniques in and out. They're stepping, right? There's a multi-directional aspect to it. And albeit fin weights, right? I think this is fin or fly. Is this fly? Must be fly.
Well, I guess like what have you named again? And we shouldn't have to do this 'cause I think it was very understood before. But like boxing, you got your jab, you got your cross, you got your hook, you got your uppercut, you got those things, and those are what the referees are looking for scoring techniques. What if we limit it to that? You got your front leg up ball, you got your back leg round kick, you have axe kick, you got back kick,
Score
but
still
we take away
0-0.
all
And here's our recap
the
of the
weird
Easy.
stuff. You just say it just doesn't
We
score.
had
Like it's not a
Yep.
scoring technique, and just leave it at that. I don't. I
Yep. Turn the
mean.
volume down.
Yelling too much, I guess, huh?
well, the Chinese
So
Taipei
here's
players, their
1999,
coaches are known for being extra passionate about the fight.
and
And
this must be Juan.
same
Where's
for the Korean.
99? Is
There's
that
another
Calgary?
warning
Oh, he's got
for
one.
the
Edmonton.
coach, this time on the
Edmonton.
Korean side.
That ref looks familiar to me.
Well, that's Mr. Bruce Harris from the United States, very seasoned as an international referee and well loved and respected throughout the international community.
Let me go here. There's a lot of people watching this. Let's see what's going on.
Good movement around. 2 seconds, 1 second. Oh, another
He
hit for the
scored
Chinese
right at the
Taipei
last
player.
second of the fight.
Fantastic. Not a
Oh my God, that's
bomb.
Bruce Harris.
And again, did you see him?
Oh, jeez.
Um,
But look at the attempts on counters. The attempt. Look at this
Oh my
guy.
gosh,
Wow.
beautiful.
I mean, look at the level,
Beautiful
the complexity of
point, Mr.
technique.
Shearer.
Look at the
With that
attacking
left leg
matrix.
roundhouse kick as a Korean
Right,
spinning
and you
around.
could make an argument it was a little more boring, right? There's not as much action.
Beautiful action.
But
here
when
in
the
third
action
round, these
happened,
guys really
you know,
took it up
it
a
was
couple
real
notches.
action.
These guys are
right?
great athletes.
3-1.
yeah, this is how I learned Taekwondo. This is how I was taught
Mr.
Taekwondo.
Harris
You know.
stops the fight for a
I mean,
warning for the Korean
we're just not
player.
there anymore. I think we're like we have to kick. Everyone's being a little smart and creating opportunities, putting their foot.
Look at
Whatever.
look and
These
look
guys
at
are
even
systems
this,
change.
even
forwards
this.
and backwards.
All right, I'm going
What
to put
great
up one
athletes.
last one because this is the highlights of
What
the
if you only
88
traded
Olympics.
0 DTE options around events that are 100% guaranteed to
And I,
happen?
I
We found a
encourage
company
people to
that
go out
tracks.
and kind of look at these and do the comparison, right? But see the stepping, like right there, for example. Enter, release, young chick, right? And this
Yeah,
is
because
what's
but
yeah.
Young, the game is like exactly what TJ said. I'll wait till it's done so you can hear me.
But look at, I mean, do you see the stepping and the multiple techniques, the combinations, and
But it's that's
this is what's lost.
but the problem is
Go ahead.
no, because you can't hear me because talking. You can hear that it's too much. No, the
Go ahead.
problem is no, the problem is that it's just a scoring. Back in our day, you couldn't get touched because if you get touched and made a big noise or whatever, it was a subjective thing, and referees would push the button. So you were always stepping. There was no, like TJ said. Now you take chances because the worst thing is you get touched, you might touch them. It's a 50-50 chance. So back in
hear
our
you.
day, you
Yeah.
didn't want to get touched. So it allowed for bigger points, in, out, traps, draws, motions.
Yeah.
So I mean,
It's
just
crazy. I always tell people we changed when I grew up. We never took paddles or shields or noodles or had the person kick us and practice blocking.
no.
Like it was, we just didn't play. It wasn't about that. I wanted to make you miss, hit afterwards, change the angles, stop your attack from getting close and kick. And now we practice blocking. We practice the foot not getting contact on the chest guard, and we encourage it. Good, keep it away, shut it down, close it off, make sure it doesn't slide. So now, if your goal is to block and be in space to touch afterwards, then do you have to? I guess my question is, I love motion and movement. Let me start there. I do a lot of motion and movement based training. I do it for warm up. I do it for cool down. I mix it in. But like, I guess my question would be to you, Coach. Do you need it? Do you think it's a necessity in the game? Does that make you that much better? Does it give you an advantage in the long haul? Like, where do you think that fits in now?
I
Yeah,
think
it
you
does.
have to look. I think you have to look at it. Go ahead, Coach. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
So here's two dynamic players, right? Which we know both of them.
I mean, obviously, we get it.
He fought the same on electronics though.
Yeah.
You can, right? But so I mean, this is
He
like,
fought the same. He was special. He was different. That was his.
Yeah.
That was his thing. Like, but he fought the same on electronics and regular chess cards. And sometimes it was amazing, and you watch him run the whole tournament. And then sometimes it's like, some Russian guy comes on with a long foot and he just scores 1 billion points on him, and you're like confused. So
Yeah.
I don't know, but he fought the same both. He's just him.
So it goes back to a fundamental look at this: the escape, the enter, the recounter. I mean, the level of technical superiority you have to be able to fight like this. You're attacking, coming down. Watch this: attack, counter, re-attack, come back. I mean, the level of movement and understanding of the game, and in real time being able to understand how this works and how it all fits together. That's Taekwondo, right?
Well, anyway, we're not there. We're not there. I mean,
but anyway, such is life. So, and that's the better question, right? So ask yourself that question. And it was a good question. Now you find yourself trying to explain what you're watching. And the question I was going to ask both of you, and I'll leave it for next time. Could you think of one match at the Grand Prix Challenge Final Song and Dance British imitation accent contest that it was? Could you find one match in that you would say was a good match, and you could say, here's why we do it? Is there one match that you would say? Because I could go back to the 88 Olympics and I could pull up 8 to 10 matches that I would say, here's why I think this Taekwondo is better. I could go to the 92 Olympics and not any of my matches, but I could pull a few matches from that and say, here's why we do it. I could go to the 2000 Olympics. I could probably go all the way up to 2008 and say, here's why Taekwondo should be like this. And this is why we should reward technical and power equally. And here's why here's how it was supposed to work. So
my answer is no. My answer is no.
Yeah.
My answer is no.
Okay.
There was not one match that I could go for. Was there some exciting matches? Yeah. Was there some crazy comebacks? Yeah. Was there some things that I, like TJ said, I'm numb to it, that I just say, yeah. But if you ask me to put a match that I just show the world, this is the beauty of Taekwondo, there wasn't a match. There's a couple of good matches for me.
That's the same thing we talk.
Purist, the guy that loves watching fights, but no.
So that's the same thing we talk about each week, and this is why, Taekwondo has lost its way. And so my point is, the original reason Taekwondo mattered was we kicked better, harder, and more skillfully than any other martial art. And one of the reasons I didn't do, with all respect to my point fighting brothers, I didn't do point fighting is I didn't want to do that. Yeah, it looked like this. I didn't want to do that. That wasn't what I valued. I liked kicking people hard. I liked kicking people and knocking them out if I could. And I liked that dynamic. That's why I did Taekwondo, because I thought it was effective and I thought it mattered. And then the complex nature, Dr. Kaepmer, for example, when he studied at Dongsung and stayed in Korea, his understanding of the technical matrix of motion, empty and full space, and when it was explained to me, then I understood why I like Taekwondo. Because if you do Taekwondo correctly, for every attack, there is a counter. For every counter, there's a recounter. It fits like a hand and a glove. There are worse and better ones, but you can technically explain how it works and why. And once you understand that, that's why you need motion forwards, motion backwards, motion sideways, motion this, motion that. And when you see it done well, there was a guy that put up this video that I keep seeing on my feed on TikTok. And he says, old school Taekwondo challenge. And it's literally the step where you step forward, then you sidestep and hit. So you go forward to draw the attack, you sidestep, and when they kick, you're to the side. It's like Patachugi moving forward. And when you watch it's a beautiful step. And when it's done well, it's so beautiful. And if you go like this and you step here and he round kicks, you back kick. And it typifies, it exemplifies what Taekwondo is, an option tree. The Taekwondo that I watch now, that we just watched, isn't an option tree. It's a zero-sum game. I kick, maybe I lift my foot up. If I lift my foot up, you lift your foot up, and whoever lifts their foot up and gets lucky scores a point. And because of the electronics. And it's not...
Yeah, that's I just think we keep going in circles because you just said right there, it's all because of the electronics. It's not because the athletes can't do it or don't want to do it. No, they just figure out a way to score, and it's all because
they got to win. That's their job.
Maybe
win.
if they did what TJ said, you could only kick with roundhouse kick, side kick, and axe kick and back kick. You can't do any of these other little things. Just like in boxing, you can't hit with the side or the top. You got to hit with the front of the fist.
Punch.
Right.
You don't twist punch.
Right. So unless they fix the electronics or take the electronics, what they're not going to take the electronics out. They're here forever. They're not going anywhere. The best thing they could do is fix the electronics.
Why? Now, you've said that as a statement. I know you guys always say that as a statement. I'm going to tell you that there are sports where they've taken electronics away.
It's not going back.
Because they can't score. Why?
You can go back in the old days without a phone, but it's not going backwards.
Why?
It's money. It's quote unquote fair. If they fix it, if they fix the system, and they can. You cannot tell me they cannot fix a system for a combative sport. They can fix it. They don't want to. Too expensive, to whatever it is. They can fix it. Our sport would be great if the shit worked. It would be great.
They can't. The only way they can fix it is to go to a power-based system, because then all the nonsense techniques go away. So you can fix. Now you can. I'm going to give you. I'll challenge you to do this. With the exception of time-based sports or measurable sports like weightlifting.
There's only
Hold
one.
on a second. No. There are other sports. Gymnastics. How's it judged?
I get it. It's subjective. I get it.
There are a number of subjective sports that have suffered the same way Taekwondo did.
But it's different. It's different because in gymnastics, if I do a fucking 27 flips in the air and land, I get more points than if you do one. That's just the way it is. And when they're that close, they're not that close. Someone is better, and it's subjective. But you're looking at techniques. When you're fighting, you can't do that. I mean,
figure skating.
You can, but they're not against each other. They're not.
I was having a conversation with one of our young guys, and we were talking about like back kicks and backspin hook kicks, and like, oh well, if up ball and back kick are gonna be the same, why would I back kick? And I'm like, because your opponent made a mistake, because they came too far with their back leg and you countered it and you hit them heavy to the body. There was a purpose of back kicking. Now we back kick at the end of matches. We haven't done one back kick the whole match. We back kick this because it's more point value. That's it. We're just trying to score the most points and be the most effective. That's why face kicks went crazy. That's why more people are successful at touch to the face, because I just got to get close enough for it to touch. I don't even have to effectively hit you anymore. It changes the concept. Like everything changes at that point. And I think coaching is a little tougher, obviously. Training it's a little tougher, and I think there are parts and bits and pieces that we put in there, but the majority of it you can't just be one way and then negate all the little touching and stuff. You got to be able to do a little bit of both.
Yeah, I agree with you. We should go back to what you will call it, or push buttons. If you have professional eyes that do it professionally, like figure skating, like whatever gymnastics, but even then they go back and they look. Oh, she stepped out of bounds. Oh, she completed it. Oh, she didn't complete it. If we had great referees, we would do it, but they don't. They don't want it. They're going to keep the electronics. It's going for it. So my thing is, don't go backwards and take it away. Fix what you have. They should have fixed it. We've said this since we started this podcast. They should have fixed the referees back in 2007 and 8 because they started this. The electronics started with the just in 2008. They should have fixed it back then, but they didn't. They went to electronics. Here we are, 8 to 12, 16, 21, 24. We're on our 5th quad. 20 years almost of not quite, but of electronics. So they should fix it. I don't disagree with you. They should go to, human element, but they're not going back. So my thing is fix it. To power base.
Do you think the one? Yeah, they did that with the Adidas system though.
That was
and people were like kneeing each other in the clinch and punching in the stomach, and like again, for lack of it, we always create a way to kind of make it a little tough. Yeah, but you can fix it.
So again, it goes back to what I've said since the beginning. Fix the referees, you fix the sport. So you can have a combination of both, but as soon as if you can't fix the referees and you don't trust the referees, either because they're inept, unable, or corrupt, then you have the same problem, because you can fix the Adidas or the power-based systems by letting the referee take away illegal techniques, and you have it in all sorts of sports. If somebody takes a shot in basketball and their foot's on the line, the referee can say it was on the line. You don't.
I got the fix. You want the fix? You go for one quad, cadet and juniors, and now under 21. Everything goes back to old school. Take the electronics off and let this generation of kids fight like this from cadets to juniors to under 21. The referees, you're gonna need special referees for that. And then you can show with your data, with your winners, you can, now that we have all that stuff, that it can be done with referees pushing the buttons, scoring it properly, and then you could re-enter into a Pan American Games or Olympic Games. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could do it, because right now they say, oh, but we need these. No. If you're a cadet, you're a junior, under 21, you fight under these rules. And it's training referees, it's training a new generation of people. You'll see those people will adapt to what you know, Herb, what I know, more power-based, more explosion-based, because referees are not going to, there was not a referee in the planet that would score a hook kick to the back.
Oh, no.
There's not
no.
a plan to score a little psychic in the clinch. They wouldn't even look at it. They wouldn't even flinch to it. They'd be looking for big shots immediately. The Koreans, the Iranians, the Turkish, the Americans, the Russians, Brazilians, everybody would just flip the scripts just like that. Then you would have a base of people. You can go to the Olympic Committee and say, here we are. Here's how our Olympic format is going to change. And when it's successful, when it looks amazing, we'll be done forever. We'll change forever. That's the only way. One for president.
Well, I'm gonna give you guys some homework, because it's over an hour, so we gotta wrap it up here in a minute. But I thought this was a good exercise.
2 things I want to talk about.
All right, go ahead, go. I'll give you homework later.
Okay, real fast. Change 2 things. When is the Olympic procedure supposed to be produced for the United States? How long?
A year before the process starts. So in other words, let's say you say a year before the process starts. So in other words, and there's a logical reason for that. Let's say that you say, we are going to count all the points from the past year and add them to the selection process. Had I known that, I might have competed in more or less tournaments. So you got to announce the procedures a year in advance from before the Olympics, first of all. Second of all, before the process starts. So that if you can't put previous qualifications into a current process, because had I known, then I might have gone to different things. So it's just common sense for that.
So my question is, TJ, because we all know there's going to be a point reset next year, right? So theoretically, shouldn't they be out right now? Because then our Olympic stuff is basically January of 2028, right? So go 27, 26 is going to be a 2-year cycle. We all know it's a 2-year cycle. Shouldn't have already been out to say, these things. But either way, regardless of when it comes out, I think it needs to come out, because I was talking to somebody the other day, and I believe, well, we'll have to see. I mean, I could be wrong, but the United States is going to have to choose divisions. And I would like to know how they're going to choose divisions, right? First, second, third, fourth, how they're going to choose them. They're going to have to choose athletes that can either compete in those or they just select. How are those athletes going to be selected? Will there be any kind of, if we're in the same division and we're close in ranking or whatever, will there be a fight out? Like, what are going to be the metrics of this? Because it's really important, because if the United States doesn't qualify 2 men and 2 women, or 3 men and 3, or 4 and 4, and they have to get the automatic bids like France did, they're going to have to decide what categories, men and women, what athletes, men and women, and what are the metrics to be those persons selected.
What are the most categories the U.S. can get?
2. Oh, no, 4. Every country can get 4. If you qualify for the ranking, top 5 in the world, in fin, fly, welter, heavy, on both sides. That's the most.
Get total of 8.
Yeah, no one's ever done it.
But I thought the host country automatically gets those 8.
No, they
Not
get 2
8.
and 2.
They get 2 and 2. 4. A full Olympic team is 4 people. Only per the ranking can you get 2 extra males and 2 extra females.
And if you have one qualifying, see, the United States is in a weird situation. But let's just say Brazil. Let's say we qualify 1 man by ranking. We only can send one more to the qualifier. Women, same thing, 2.
Okay? Same thing just happened in Canada last time around as well with Skylar. Same thing. Skylar qualified direct, so they only had 1 Olympic division up for contestant.
Correct.
Yeah.
There you go.
So the U.S. can get a total of 8?
They could, but I mean, I want to say it's
all 5 would all athletes would have to qualify top 5.
Wouldn't it make more sense for the U.S., if they can, to qualify guys who can make the top 6?
Say that again.
Yes.
In other words, if they have guys that can qualify Then they take those, they make those guys qualify. Then they pick the other two that couldn't qualify.
No, but you can't do
You
that.
can't do that.
What do you mean?
As
You
the host
only-
country,
go ahead.
as the host country, for example, let's say you had two men that qualified. Let's just say CJ and John Healy. Let's just say they both qualified top 5. You're in.
Right.
But the women were number 8, 9, and 10.
Right.
As the host country, you can go, we want these two, and we're going to forfeit those other women. We don't want them. Or we can say, we'll take the wild cards 2 and 2. So when we're in the top 5, all of a sudden top 6, the 6th person comes in, they get it. And then as the host country, we take the number 4 seed. It's a weird rule, but that's what they do. So
I never
guess my
understood that
point
rule.
is,
Like Grand Prix,
if
it
you
was
had
a ninth
people that-
seed, and Olympics is the 4th seed. I never understood why the host country got a better seed
or worse.
or
Like
worse
France,
seed, depending on
France
what you
had the
do.
2
Yeah.
number 1 women's seed, and they went to number 4.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to figure out is how many. So my point is, if the U.S. can qualify 2 people, guaranteed, or they get 2 people that qualify by points, they can still
Two
get
and two. 2 girls, 2 guys, basically.
Yeah, but let's say 2 qualify on the men's side, and then you have to use 2 of your host cards for the women. Aren't you left with 2 host cards? 4?
The men. No, you
Yeah.
can't. No, you're not understanding me. If
Yeah.
you have, like you said, if the 2 men qualified and
Yeah.
2 women didn't, then you're out of luck. You got 2 choices. 2 choices. Keep these qualified and give those up so they can go by their ranking, or you say we're going to give these up. We're going to pick them anyway. We're going to give them up. We're going to take them as the host country wild cards,
Right.
and we come in. And since we were in the top 5, somebody comes down. That was number 6. They get in. So that's the way you can do it. That's the only way. When you're the host country, you got to take it all or nothing.
So you can't get 8. You can only get a total of 4.
If you qualify for the ranking, you could. If you got 4 men that qualified and 4 women, but if you get 4 men and no women, you got to
don't need
choose
more
your 2.
qualification spots. Yeah.
That's crazy. That
That
means
is
someone that
crazy.
qualified top. Yeah.
So
that was
wait,
my one.
so wait, rewind, because maybe I missed that part. Just so I'm clear.
Yeah.
Four males qualify, all 4 divisions. 0 women. Women go donut. We're left with these 4 males. There's 4 of them. We don't get to take all 4 of those spots. We'd have to choose 2 of those spots.
We could, but then we don't take any women.
I see what you're saying. So then we go 2 and then 2.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we're on the same page. I thought you were saying, like, for whatever reason, if 0 qualified, but if I said I could still send 4 males and go no Olympic team for women.
You could.
That's an option, right?
Yep. Because that'd be
Okay,
4 people.
we're on the same page. Okay.
So
You'd be
anyway,
better, you better be better off taking the women because they have a better history of medaling.
So my other question was, so that was election or selection procedures. We just opened a can of worms, but I think they need to be out there because people should know. But then my other question is, what if athletes are getting money as stipend, should it be, if you're in the national team and some people are getting stipends and some people aren't, up into the world championship, fair or not fair, based on if you're at the academy. So if I'm an academy athlete and I'm going to the world championships, I get extra money. If I'm not at the academy, I'm in California and I just happen to not be at the academy, but I'm on the national team. Should I be excluded for money?
No.
Or should I be getting
money is given so athletes can train, and there's an argument to be made that the athletes that are not at the academy should get money more because they need the money more. But I mean, the reality is that, they should use the Herb Perez Olympic funding model. And my funding model is really easy. So I take a full team to a world championship or a Grand Prix, Poobah, or whatever, or the British version of America's Got Talent. And I bring you. You win your first match, I pay for your hotel room. You win your second match, I pay for your plane ticket home.
You're talking about after the fact.
You lose your first match, you owe me money for your plane ticket to the event, and good luck getting home, and you don't have a hotel room to stay in. So I at that point, I'd be funding performance.
I get what you're saying. I think and maybe quote me if I.
By the way, I would have gotten home and had my hotel paid for with all my international tournaments, with the exception of one.
Yeah, I think we had I think at one point they were using the ranking to have people fund it too. That was also part of the process. So if you were someone that was performing at a high level or within a certain ranking, obviously, again, we're talking about thinking ahead. That number would expand now with the number going to 0, blah blah blah, and all those things. There's still an option for funding just through the pure ranking. But you're 100% right. Now it's again we're in the same era of. It's a lot. I think that the funding being kind of like you said, solo to one room,
It's favoritism. In other words, there's a difference between encouraging people to participate. So the Olympic Committee has done a lot of studies on this, and the studies go like this: where does money matter most? So does money matter as incentive? The answer is no. Money matters on bubbles. Kids on the bubble of performance, podium performance, that money matters because that's going to help them do things that'll make them medal potential. If you gave Joe Blow, Gene Blow, $1 million if they win an Olympic gold medal, it doesn't help. It doesn't help them. That's if money, if I win money. You need money to prepare, to train, to do whatever else. So if you have a kid who's at the academy, has no expenses, eating bangers and mash and no expenses, then you have a kid in California, in Temecula, and needs money to get to his training, needs money because he needs to buy a car so he can go train. His training facility is an hour away. Needs gas money and food money so that he can train 6 hours a day. Arguably, that kid needs more because his expenses are more. Yeah,
that's my point. I'm just asking. Listen, if they have money to give to some people, shouldn't they spread it out to some of these other people, especially in this day and age? We know cadets aren't getting paid, and juniors aren't getting paid.
Need-based.
I mean, and again, yeah, I've heard through the grapevine there might be some extra money given out to people per month up until the World Championship. So if that's the case, I'm like, man, they should give it to some of these other kids that aren't at the academy. That have to pay for their own training, have to pay for their own travel, have to pay for their own.
When you remember Doug Lewis, when he did those figures for us, and he told us how much money Taekwondo has in the bank, they're actually at risk of losing their 501(c) status because as a 501(c), you can't profit and you can't bankroll money unless you show why the money's bankrolled. So if USA Taekwondo and Jay and Steve and that clown show, the last Jay and Steve is from Clerks, the movie. Now we have it internally. If they're bankrolling that money and paying for their plane tickets to go to Korea and drink soju and eat bulgogi, and they're not funding the athletes and the athletic pipeline, they're violating the 501(c)'s purpose and mission. And actually,
they're slick. I mean, they're gonna put it somewhere, somehow, some way. But the fact of the matter is, we know that athletes at all these levels are not getting money, and most of them aren't getting paid for it. Maybe the big events like World Championships for seniors, of course. But my question was, if there's extra money, I think they should spread it to everybody.
Did you say the national team members were getting extra payment leading up to the World Championships? You said they should be getting extra payment leading up to the World Championships.
I think that some may be getting extra.
So it's not like you're on the national team and this is going to be given to you because you're on the national team. Like everyone, the entire national team. Oh yeah, for sure.
TJ, do you have TJ? Do you know what a yoke is?
A yoke?
A yoke.
No,
Coach Miranda, you know what a yoke is?
A yoke? No, I don't.
I
know what egg yolk is.
A yoke,
I don't think that's what he's talking about.
Y-O-K-E. So there's a yoke. And back in the day, yoke was something you did to somebody. It was like if you hooked the guy in the face for speaking out of turn. But a yoke in colloquial parlance is that. But in real life, a yoke is something you put around an ox or a mule so that they can drag the plow. So as long as you allow yourself to have a yoke on, which is what most members of USA Taekwondo do, you're dragging the plow. So at some point, USA Taekwondo, its membership, its lifetime members, its regular members, its $50 members, needs to throw the yoke off. So if you continue to allow them to do this, they'll continue to do it. It's not until America and the athletes in America say stop paying for the British coaches to live in Great Britain and not coach here. Stop paying for the unsuccessful coaches here. Stop paying for the unsuccessful organization and the plane tickets of Jay. I saw another picture of Jay in Korea eating kimchi and drinking soju at another world event. At which point are you guys going to stop paying for those plane tickets and start paying for the cadets to go perform? So we're paying for
They got cameramen and stuff like that, and little announcers paying. They're paying
Yeah.
but they're not paying for these kids. But anyway, we'll talk about a little bit about the
All
more
right.
money and the award I'm going to be getting from USA Taekwondo too. I
Real
didn't tell
quick
you guys.
before we go, you said someone came to you and they had a quote for you, or it said something you like.
Yeah,
What was
yeah.
that? What was that? Let's end with that, and then we'll get out of here.
I'll drink no wine before my time, or Mex I can because I could. What was it?
Actually, this is funny because I say something similar to this a lot, but it wasn't a quote. This guy wrote it, so he said, and I love this. He's like, I used to carry the weight of everyone's problems. I used to carry the weight of everyone's problems. I give my best advice, invest my time, and take every setback in my circle personally. Like I said, like I had failed them somehow. But over time, I learned that people have to walk their own path. I can't take it to heart when someone chooses a road that leads to struggle. These days, I still offer support, share my philosophy, and speak up when it matters. But I've let go of the responsibility of making sure everyone ends up happy. That's their job. Mine is to live with integrity, lead by example, and be at peace knowing I gave what I could. That was my guy, Josh from Houston. He's a very good business gentleman, has a successful school. He does consulting for Maya. But when I happened to read that today, and I was like, you know what? It's true, man. Sometimes I think we've probably all been there. We try to solve everyone's problems. We try to help everybody. We try to give, 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 give. And sometimes we get hurt. Sometimes people turn their back on us. And, all we can do is give our advice. And whatever they do, they do. Wish them well and not let it, take little pieces off us and just kind of move forward. It's kind of
I think
I don't know.
that's a great quote. Here's my version of the same thing that I tell my son, and I give him this advice. Um, if you ask somebody for advice, or if somebody asks me for advice, I give advice, and I give it freely. I have no expectation that somebody will follow my advice. So you'll ask me for advice. If you ask me for help, now I'm invested in you. If I offer my help, it's because I'm investing in you, and I fully expect you to listen to the help that I give you. And now I'm invested in you, and I will help you achieve your goal. So when I give advice, if people ask me for advice, I give it freely. If you ask me for help, that's different. I'm going to a different level. And so I'm not helping USA Taekwondo. I'm advising people what to do because I've helped before. And when I turn around, I'm standing there looking at myself fighting a fight that nobody else wants to fight or not willing to fight. At the point where people need help, they'll call for help, and that'll be a different level. So I always encourage my son and people like you, and we've had this conversation before, ask for help, because then the person you're asking for help is invested in you and your success. Ask for advice. Advice is free. Take it or leave it. I don't expect you to use it or whatever, but that's the longer version of my thing. So I always ask for help and not for advice unless I don't really want help, and then I will ask for advice. So, but such as this has been the Warehouse 15, and I'm reminded because we haven't said it yet, and this is not for TJ's mother, who I love dearly, and I can't wait to go to Virginia and see her and bring her a cake of some sort.
He
And
says
then,
he's going everywhere. He don't go nowhere, man.
You don't go nowhere.
I'm going to Korea actually because my good friend and our colleague, Dr. Kapner, is going to get his 9th degree. I will point out that they skipped over him for the ceremony last week, so which we'll talk about another time. But some guy in the kooky one is going to be strapped to a chair when I get there, because I don't know how you disrespect Dr. Kapner and not invite him to his ceremony so he can dress up like I
They
dressed
want to
up.
give him one of those funny-looking uniforms. That's why.
Dude, I'm going to watch him taking pictures. So in September, if you're bored, you got nothing else to do, come watch Dr. Kapner join the 9th Dan Club, and I'm looking forward to that. But with that said, just the last thing to remind everybody of, if we've said something that offended you, caused you to think, caused you to pause, question your sensibilities and your sense and purpose in life, sorry, not sorry. This has been the Warehouse 15. We are out today. And TJ, one last thing before we go. I will take 2 of those treadmills and Stairmasters that you're selling on late night TV with that headgear. We are out. TJ's mom, sorry.
Later. Peace.